Before me right now stands a large room of speculators, enthusiasts, and basically people that are interested in the industry. And we have our financial investors that are just scouting us through, so it's quite intimidating, but I'm very glad to be here, to be part of this event, and I think it's a great time to share about what I think, could be a pretty interesting thing in the GameFi industry. Let me just find the remote right here. Oh, it's actually right over here. Okay. So my name is Darrel. I'm the co-founder and CTO of the Creo Engine ecosystem. I'm in charge of development, and I also create products for this venture. And essentially, what I'm trying to talk about is how we could add more value to basically, hold on. Oh, there it is. Through NFTs, through interoperability. Now, basically, what is interoperability? Is this idea that a developer of a game could essentially send one asset from one game into another game entirely for various uses. Now, I gave this analogy to a lot of people that came by the booth, but let's say you have a pet game, a cat, a digital cat that apparently is an NFT. Well, guess what? You could actually send that cat into another game entirely for various uses. And we believe that in doing so, the implications of this is quite, lucrative. Now that particular cat could have various uses across different games below the platform. And that's essentially what we're trying to really emulate as a company and as a venture. So, imagine a world where you could use one NFT across several dozen games below the Creo Play platform. Now, there you go. That's utility right there. And that presents a lot of valuable propositions for developers that want to join our platform. So, of course, moving on, we also have what we call interoperability types, where essentially an asset doesn't have to be visible in a game to be valuable. So with our Creo Play platform, essentially players are able to equip NFTs on their profiles, and those NFTs could actually give boosts across many different games below the platform. Now, that is quite stunning because imagine one NFT from one particular small game that partners up with a lot of big games below the platform. Well, what's going to happen is that particular NFT will assist players in those several different games below the platform, and there you go. That's value right there. So your NFT is not just an image or a GIF. It's now giving you utilities and benefits across many different games. And that is what we're trying to sell as a project. So of course, there's also what we call extrinsic interoperability, where the NFTs actually appear in-game directly. And what this does is that NFTs could actually be used in-game to fight monsters, increase party or character attributes, etc. Now, we're trying to facilitate this with our SDK development tools. Now developers can communicate to other developers to actually link to each other and create propositions with each other to essentially create this rhetoric or this narrative where developers could create their own little metaverses with other developers below our platform, where their NFTs could be used across many different games, across many different communities. And that is what Creo Engine strives to create. Of course, moving on, let's talk about monetization. So imagine this. You're a developer. You want to go to Steam. It's actually a big game, Web 2 gaming platform. You sell your game out there, you get a big cut, 30%. Well, guess what? Now, if you have an NFT of one game, an NFT from one game, and it's being used by a player across 10 different games, when players make money off of those games, that NFT gives you royalties. So now developers can make royalties off their NFTs through our infrastructure. So that's a new way to monetize your products, and I think it's quite interesting. Because when that happens, now developers could really focus on passive income, while as conventional games rely on big marketing strategies, and then it just crashes down and fades away to obscurity. But now we'll have players with these rare commodity NFTs from games from all over the globe, benefiting multiple hundreds of games across the platform. Well, guess what? Developers can make a good chunk of money too off of that. So we're introducing a new way to monetize products across the platform, and we want to give power to developers because we believe that developers in the Web 2 space are treated rather unfairly by publishers and Web 2 platforms across the world. And I'm sure all of you here are aware of that situation as well. So of course, moving on, of course, there's also flaws to this logic. You cannot connect 1,000 games together. 1,000 products means 1,000 mathematical decisions need to be made by developers, game designers, and game economists, so to speak. And the challenge is extremely hard. How do you hope to actually connect 1,000 games together? It's impossible. So our platform is designed to essentially allow developers, as I mentioned before, to create what we call sub-ecosystems. This means that developers could actually create sub-ecosystems of their games. And these ecosystems consist of 5 to 10 different games below this little platform. So now we'll have games interoperating with each other back and forth in their little group. And they're doing so in a stable manner. Now, the idea is that we want developers to be safe, right? If they do it without us, they might risk encountering some really malicious developers that might destroy their products. So with our platform, our main goal is to ensure that we protect developers and their interests. And we want them to grow with other developers who wish for the same. So of course, moving on. We believe that, developers really need to have power, right? As I mentioned before, they're treated rather unfairly by a lot of publishers and big companies across the world. So we want developers to really connect with their users. And their users could really mix in with many communities across that these developers have actually fostered across time. And moving on, of course, we want people in this whole platform essentially. If they hold Creo and they're the users, we want users to be connected to their developers in a close manner where they could actually vote on what happens to these games below the platform, what features get implemented, and what actually happens when patches get pushed out and products get pushed out. Users have the right to make the choices with developers. And when that happens, we create this very intimate dynamic between users and the developers, which means that people who use our platform have voices. Because right now, if you look at traditional gaming societies or systems, users do not necessarily have any voices or they don't have any opinions to their developers, and they spend money on their game, so you're wasting money on a game and that you have no right to change. And you have to gather a lot of people to make that change, and it's not easy. We want developers to listen to their users, and with our tokens, we can make that happen below our platform. Now, of course, moving on. Now, we're Indonesian-based, right? And I think that there is a massive market for young people on their mobile phones playing games back and forth. Now, they're spending a lot of time and money, but they're not getting anything back. They're losing a lot of market, or should I say, opportunities. Now, we want people to use our platform on their mobile devices to have access to this entire library of Web3 games. And we want to give the tools to people to actually find out what games are good, what games aren't, and how these games could benefit them as users. And the best part is, if users have assets from one particular game, they could use it across many different games, meaning that users can create their own NFT portfolios of interchangeable assets in between games. That means users will have a net worth of valuable commodity NFT assets across different games below the Creo Play platform. And we want young people, the youth of Indonesia, who use their mobile phones all day, to practically, find opportunities to make money off of these games they're playing. Better yet, we're actually partnering with a lot of governing bodies and big companies that deal with vouchers and that work with big companies like retail studios, conventional studios like 7-Eleven, Alphamart, Indomart, for example. Now you can essentially exchange your game assets for real-life commodities like food, snacks, and maybe mobile data. So that's what we're trying to give, not just income to users, but also access where they could actually have real-life benefits. And then this creates this whole narrative where now children who play games all day can make more money than their parents will ever will because of these high-value commodity assets. And now children could actually earn food and mobile data because they're playing these games below our platform. We'll have a youth or a society of gamers benefiting their families and their friends. And that is what we're trying to aim for. Not just to become a gaming platform, but essentially a welfare system for the people of Indonesia and maybe the Asian Peninsula. And that's basically our goal. And if we can provide wealth for the people across the world, then why not? I think blockchain in itself exists for that, to give power to the people and to give people a chance to provide for their families and their loved ones. And we want to be a part of it. We want to be a part of that society and that movement today and in the future. Of course, I do believe there's a great transition happening as we speak. And that transition is when conventional gamers, adult gamers, are now trying to get something back from their video games. We have high AAA games just siphoning money out of your wallets. You get nothing in return. And now there are companies and there are societies where people are just playing games just to get something back. And that transition is just starting. It's very brand new. And goodness, it's going to revolutionize the industry, where now conventional gamers will be creating portfolios solely comprised of video games. And now video games will be like stocks, where they'll perform and they'll, do well or do bad, and people can make bets on video games. And that kind of movement is what we're trying to capitalize on. And this transition is happening as we speak, especially in the Philippines. Look at that. Axie Infinity is really paying people's mortgages, paying their rent, providing food on the table. And this transition is brand new. And goodness gracious, it's impressive, really, what people can do with the blockchain industry. So, let's recap. Imagine a world. Your phone has access to a library of games. Those games could perform well for you or not, and you have a portfolio of NFT commodities from different games that can be interchanged between many, many games below the platform. That is what CreoPlay aims to be. And imagine a world where children could one day provide for their families, provide for their parents, provide for their friends. That welfare system is beautiful. It's actually pretty, it's remarkable, really, what humans can do in a short period of time. And I see before myself a lot of great talent, a lot of engineers that could do wonders with this industry. And I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be standing right here and telling you how I feel about this space. I think it's remarkable. And better yet, I think it's beautiful. And imagine a world where you could easily have jobs by having fun. I think that would be very nice to see. An entire job market dedicated to gaming. And it's happening right now. Massive guilds making millions and millions of dollars each week in China and all over Asia. This transition, this world is slowly becoming real. So of course, we must not forget that in this industry, I think Richard Robinson from Animilco Brand said that this is a sandbox industry. We must learn to collaborate. And our platform is wanting to do that. We want guilds and users to collaborate with us. And we're not exclusive by any means. If they wish to upload their games on our platform, they can. But we're not stopping them from going to other platforms to do the same. We want to add value, and collaboration does that. We don't want to be a monopoly or the go-to hub for every game to be on the platform. We want other platforms like us to come into the limelight. So we believe purely that collaboration could do wonders in this industry. And competition, well, it exists, but healthy competition is a great thing too. But we must never forget to collaborate with our peers and our colleagues, especially right now, we're connecting to each other in this very beautiful expo. Of course, the journey won't be easy. Amassing and aggregating user bases will take a long time. We have developers lined up ready to try out our platform, but that's just the first part of the journey. Aggregating users, fostering users, creating value for NFTs, that's an impressive and daunting journey for everybody here in this room, including me. So, we'd be more than happy to get to know all of you in this lovely journey, in this world that's coming to life, this whole metaverse, this whole sandbox metaverse that's really becoming real. And, we'd be more than happy to talk about how we could collaborate with all of you here today. But in any case, this is simply my theory and my idea of what the metaverse could be. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions in this Q&A I'm going to run. So please, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to elaborate further in the spare time we have left. Is there anybody else that wants to ask questions? Oh, please. I'm sorry, could you say that again? The developer tools, you mean? Okay. So he's asking me about developer tools. Now, essentially, this tool is a development kit where developers could actually use and upload their game to the CreoPlay platform. This means you could actually push your games on the platform and connect with other developers below the platform. And this tool also allows developers to actually interoperate their products with other developer products as well below the platform. This means that we'll create a large forum of developers that want to connect to each other. And this means developers could essentially find business and collaborate with other developers below the platform as well. So yeah, you can also upload your banners, your NFTs. You can also connect to developers and communicate with them and how you want to interoperate your products with each other. That's what the tool essentially does. So hopefully that helps answer the question. So any other questions before we end this session? Oh. I guess that's it. There's nobody else. So, before we end this thing, I think we're listing on Bitmart today. So, if you want to check us out, please do. It's at 4 p.m. So thank you for your time. I'm glad to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Darrel, ladies and gentlemen, Creo Engine, very exciting stuff. Thank you.